We're gonna talk about the kind of cash flow that you can get from owning a fourplex or 4 units when you're living in one of the units versus renting them all out. This is a property that I bought and I lived in for 2 years. When I first bought the property, the numbers were good, not great, but a little bit of foreshadowing. By the time that I was fully renting it out, I was getting twice the mortgage, which is basically the dream. With my last video, I talked about the power of the house hack and being able to live for free and how important that is right now with rents going up 9 to 11% in 2021. So I wanted to review with you my fourplex numbers, and that way you know what the process is like and what it costs. For people new to the channel, which is probably everyone, my name is Jake and I'm a 30-something living in Summer, USA with my wife and our dogs Archie and Harper. And I'm a full-time worker, a part-time personal finance dabbler, a travel enthusiast, and this is us in Tulum, Mexico. But let's dive in. We're gonna start with some background information because I think it's important to go over how I got to the point that I was gonna buy this property before we dive into the purchase price, the down payment, the interest rates, the rents, how I got it to double the mortgage. Right after graduate school, I moved into the bottom of a duplex into a windowless room with a Craigslist roommate and $80,000 worth of student loan debt, and I wish I was making that up. That is where I lived for 3 years, with eventually moving to a room with a window, which was a huge upgrade. 2 years into living in the property, I started talking to my landlord about real estate investing.
Hey bro, huh?
And it was always something that I thought that I would do without knowing much about it or even why I wanted to do it. But he recommended a couple books and some podcasts, and I really started to research that over the next 6 months. I then went to Europe for 8 weeks, and I knew that it's either now or never if I was going to start in real estate investing because I wanted to get into a multi-unit. When I moved back, I was recommended an agent from a friend of mine who had experience with rental properties, and that's how I got started. One of the things I learned with my research is that a 1, 2, 3, or 4 unit property is considered residential, which means that you can live in it, have a lower down payment, and get better interest rates, which is what I was looking for. Because I was moving back to my hometown, I kind of knew the areas, but it had been 5 years. So I did some research to see which areas were gentrifying, which is just a fancy way of saying becoming more classy. I was also trying to get a property that was near the mountains, the freeways, or a shopping center because I knew that would help within the rental market. Now that I was all ready, I began to look at properties, and I actually made an offer on the first property I looked at, which was a triplex.
To frequent the hotel constantly.
The numbers are kind of fuzzy because I didn't end up getting it, but I think I offered $5,000 under the asking price, but the seller's agent ended up getting their own buyer at the same offer price that I had, but I got lucky because I got something so much better. One night I saw this property and drove by the next morning and told my agent that we need to make an offer. He suggested that we try to do a walkthrough before we put in an offer, but when he contacted the seller's agent, there were already multiple offers at that point. What can be weird about buying a rental properties, you sometimes can't do a walkthrough until you're under contract because the owner doesn't want the tenant to know you're selling the property. It's a pretty common practice when buying a multi-unit home and should be something that you're comfortable with. I know that it can be nerve-wracking, but you can always back out later on. Now that we found the property, let's talk about it. The property was listed at $319, and I used an FHA loan, which allowed me to put down 3.5%. The reason I used an FHA loan was because I was able to put down a small down payment. 20% of $319,000 is $63,800, and I didn't have that. Remember, I was just living in a basement with no windows. There are some disadvantages to using an FHA loan, one of them being a mortgage insurance premium or MIP. This is an additional fee you pay to be able to protect the financial institution's interest. As I mentioned, the property was listed for $319,000. That's what I offered, and it was accepted. How did I get my offer accepted? I'm really not sure. Maybe I offered the most. I probably did, but using an FHA loan, you typically have a hard time closing, or your loan is less appealing to the seller because you will have a special inspection process, which makes it more challenging to close. Sale price was later raised to $324,500. There was an issue with one of the roofs of the property, and I split the roof cost with the seller.
Are you stupid or something?
They said the new roof was going to cost $10,000, which is how we got to that number. What I later learned was that they filed an insurance claim for $1,000 to repair the roof, so they made $9,000 off me not knowing how much it costs to get a roof repaired.
What's as stupid as a stupid does?
Which is where having a good agent is helpful. But even with those rookie mistakes, I came out way ahead, as you'll see. My 3.5% down payment and my closing costs, I was all in at this number, which is pretty much everything that I had saved living in that basement over the past 3 years.
Are you crazy? Or just plain stupid?
Because I had forgot about the closing cost, which was another rookie mistake.
Stupid is, stupid does.
Hopefully by you watching this video, you won't make the same mistakes that I did. But everything after that went pretty weirdly. Remember how I said I wasn't able to walk through any of the units? So when I was able to, they were pretty gross. This is an example of what one of the units looked like after one person moved out. And this is an example of what another unit looked like. But I stuck through, and I'm glad I did, because the numbers at the end were amazing. And let's start talking about those. Bought the property. Unit 1 was rented for $588. Unit 2, which was a mirror unit and also a 1-bedroom, 1-bath, was being rented out for $663. Unit 3, which was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, was being rented out for $820. Unit 4, which was a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, was running out for $763, which brought the total income to $2,838. My principal, insurance, taxes, and interest was $1,947. The water bill for all 4 units was about $350 a month. Depending on who you talk to, people typically recommend you save between 8 to 10% for repairs and vacancy. So if we did $200 for each of those, that's a total of $400, which means our total expenses were $2,677, which means we're instantly cash flowing $161, which we should probably save for CapEx repairs, which I didn't mention, which are your capital improvements. So your roofs, your AC, your water heaters, usually your big ticket items. I do not want to have people in the comments saying, you forgot about CapEx. When I bought the property, a lot of units had leases that were expiring, which was something that I needed because you need to move in within 60 days of your purchase. The first unit that I went to was the 3-2, and I told them that I wasn't going to renew their lease because my plan was to move into that unit and fix it up. They then offered on their own to raise their rent from $820 to $1,200. So I said yes, because to me at that point, I was kind of astonished and was like, is it really that easy?
Are you stupid or something?
This means that I had to move into that gross unit. Yay.
Stupid is, stupid does, sir.
Let's fast forward a year and look at the numbers then. When I moved into unit number 1, which was a 1-bedroom, 1-bath, which means that the total income from that was $0. Unit 2 was a 1-bedroom, 1-bath, which was now running for $742. Unit 3 was at 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and was running for $1,200. Unit 4, which was the 2-bedroom, 1-bath, was now being rented for $1,300. The reason the 2-bedroom, 1-bath was running more than the 3-bedroom, 2-bath was because it was the original house, which actually means that it had more square footage than the other one, a backyard, and more just livable space. Based off the square footage and the rental comparisons in the area, that was average rent if you included the pet fees. Adding that all together, total income was $3,242. My principal, insurance, taxes, and interest came out to $1,947. The water bill still averaged about $350 per month. People typically recommend you save between 8 to 10% for repairs and vacancy. So if we did $200 for each of those, that's a total of $400 for a grand total of expenses of $2,677. This means after 1 year, I had $564 of cash flow per month, which I should be saving for CapEx, but I was also living for free. And if you want to do something similar, I have a video up above which shows you how to do that. Even though I was living for free, I try to save all that money to be able to upgrade the units whenever somebody moved out, because if I was going to charge market rents, I was going to have a nice looking apartment unit. Typical upgrades I was doing was new floors, new paint, sometimes countertops, and here are some pictures of what some units look like before and then after. I eventually moved out of my glorious 400 square foot apartment as Harper and I wanted bigger and better things, and the property that we moved into is an incredible story itself. So if you want to see that, then subscribe, as I'm sure I'll make a video on that later. Since I did eventually move out, here's what the numbers look like then. Unit 1, which is my old unit in a 1-bedroom, 1-bath, was being rented out for $750. Unit 2, which is also a 1-bedroom, 1-bath, was being rented out for $750. Unit 3, which is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, was rented out for $1,250. Unit 4, which is a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, was rented out for $1,300, meaning that total income was $4,050, which in the biz we call a dream property when the income is twice the mortgage. With me moving out, I did add some expenses. My principal, insurance, taxes, and interest came out to $2,002. The water bill was still about $350 a month. We'll still do $200 for vacancy and repairs. I did hire a property manager, which is $50 per unit, which adds up to $200. And I also hired a landscaper for $120 a month, which brings our total expenses to $3,072 and our total cash flow of $977 per month, with everything being taken care of by somebody else. Crazy. This displays the long-term growth of being able to buy a property with under market rents, knowing which areas are going to gentrify, and generally just taking the risk to try something new. Though the numbers are perfect, the property is not so much. So make sure to subscribe to see what happens. Let me just tell you, it's drama! Thanks so much for watching, and if you guys liked the video, and if you want to be around for when I post my next video, do not forget to subscribe. And if you want to help me grow the channel, then tap that like button. And if you know somebody that would find this information useful, then please consider sharing this with them. But I'll see you guys next time.